welcome again. SharePoint 205, this will be about the redirect template. It should be short and sweet today. Today what we'll cover is number one, what is a redirect and when do we need it? Two, preparing sites for the redirect, getting ready, because it does mean that some of the information on your site will be inaccessible by the standard or former means after this redirect is established. And so we do have some preparation to go through. And then finally, establishing the redirect. There are two ways to do that. The first is to create a new redirect page. That would be a very rare occurrence because generally redirects are for old material in a new place. The second is to simply convert an old page to a redirect layout, therefore moving the end user, the visitor, to the new page without them having to put any effort into it, without any keystrokes, without any mouse motion from the end user. Now, what's a redirect and why would we need it? Well, a redirect is, just kind of restating what I just said, it's a method for you, the site owner, to allow a change in your website without affecting your end users. So that John Q. Public, who has a link or a bookmark to one of your pages that is being changed or moved to another location, doesn't have to wind up with a bad or broken link stating a 404 file not found error, but they're just kind of silently and secretly moved on to the new location. Make sure that you set up your new pages to be informative, to say, hey, notice that we've moved this information. You might want to reset your browser bookmark to this new location so that John Q. Public over time doesn't continue to come back to that site, and after several years, when you've gone through a few different redesigns, the redirect kind of gets lost in the shuffle, and you're just used to having that information at the new location. Well, John Q. Public doesn't know that, and so it's always a web responsible idea to make a small announcement on the page saying, hey, we've moved, please note this new URL. Some redirects can be set up, not with our SharePoint instance, but some of them that you've seen, I'm sure, say that, hey, this has been moved and you're being redirected there in 5 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever. This one doesn't do that. This one is invisible, so if you're concerned, you may want to put a small blurb on the top of your new page announcing that that's in a new location. And so this is all for the benefit of your end user. Now, in order for a redirect to work properly, you really have to have a new page all set up and ready to go. And so you don't want to put a redirect in that's going to take somebody to a non-informative page. It's not the first step of your redesign or your reorganization. It's actually the last. And so I've already created a new page on one of these tabs here. I'm there. New page redirected. And we'll look at that in a minute. And then this is in the V3 samples folder. So it's in a different folder, a deeper folder than the pages directory. Library. And the old page that I'm going to get rid of is sitting here in the root level of the pages library. And so looking at this old page, maybe we have some kind of content that is outdated or not quite up to snuff, or maybe somehow inaccurate based on the changes that have gone on in your agency, as far as maybe there are services that are available now that weren't back when the page was established, or maybe there's been a reduction in services, or contact information has changed, or maybe the whole project was kind of reorganized, and so now the website doesn't really make sense, and so you're changing those things. And what you want to do is you want to take what's relevant on this page and put it in a new place, and so you'll go to this new page, and you'll establish this new page as a more modern or up-to-date workup of the information, and because of the reorganization, it's in a new place so that your URL makes sense and your web content contributors know where to go and it makes sense to them so that they can go right to where they need to be. And so what we want to make sure and do, going back to the old page site now, this is the old page that we're going to redirect from. And what we want to make sure and do is archive this. So we have some setup here. We have some preparation. If any of this information on this old page is going to be used in the future or needed, maybe you have some legally binding things in your agency that say that you can't get rid of information for 3 years or 5 years or whatever it is, or maybe you're just not quite sure if all of this information is actually out of date, and you may have to come back and farm some more out of it at a future date. Well, you want to make sure and archive this, because when you go to the redirect, when you change this to the redirect layout later, that information, it'll be gone. It'll still be there in a former version of the page, but again, after so many years of reorganization and redesign, those former versions of pages can get lost. And so we want to make sure that we've got what we need. And so if you do have to archive this and keep this old information around, there's 2 steps you have to go through. First is that you'll want to copy this page, and because SharePoint won't let you copy it to the same location, you'll copy it to a different folder. And the way you copy is to go to Site Actions, and you want to go, rather than View All Site Content, which is the one I'm actually more comfortable in, you'll want to go to Manage Content and Structure. That's the more Explorer-like view of your site. And so we're going to click Manage Content and Structure. And I'm going to open in this view the Pages directory, just by clicking on the name of it. It indicates to me the Pages directory is open, and then I've got, my pages over here. And so here is the old page, A_1 old page. I'm going to use the drop menu. You notice when I hover over a page name, there's an indicator that there's a drop menu that goes with it. So I'm going to use that drop menu, and I'm going to copy the page. Again, this can only be done in this view also, or Manage Content and Structure view of the page. And then I'm going to drill down, make this easy, drill down into my pages, and let's see, I'm going to put it in my V3 samples folder. I just highlight that folder and click. Notice that it's, even though it's scrolled up on me, it's still highlighted there. And click OK. And SharePoint will churn for a minute, go through everything it needs to do to get that operation done for me. And now it delivers me to V3 samples. That's the folder I'm in now. And here's my A1 old page. So I've successfully copied this from the former site. And then I'm just going to make sure, getting back to the pages place, that we still have the A1 old page right here. So it was in fact a copy. So we're going to move in a minute, and that's something else. So going back to samples, I'm going to look at this A1 old page, and I'm going to use this drop menu again, and I'm going to edit the page settings. Now, it's a lot like editing the page, but it gives you some options that are behind the scenes in the View All Site Content view. This page settings view will allow me to actually change the name of the page. Now, you can get there from View All Site Content too, but since we're here, we'll go ahead and do this the easy way. And I'm just going to amend this real simply and call this, just add the word archive to the name of the page. That way, when I move it back to its original location, I know the difference. I've got an old page and an archive page, and that will be my clue as to which one I actually want to make a redirect. And so I have this new name on the old document. I'm going to, again, use the drop menu. And I can see move is not available to me. That's because this page is checked out. And so I have to check it in first because I just made an edit to it, so it automatically checked it out to me. And so I have to check it in. I could make notes here if I wanted to. Now it should be checked in, and I will have the move option available to me. And so now I don't care about keeping this page here. This was an arbitrary location just so that I could make a new name on the page. So I don't care about keeping it here. I actually want it out of this folder. So I'm going to just move it rather than copy it. And what I'll do is I'll move it back to the root level where I was before, where the original document is, in Pages. And click OK. And now I'm back in Pages, and I have the A1 old page and the A1 old page archive. You can see I did some others in preparation for this, but these are the two that we are concerned with right now. A1 old page and A1 old page archive. That's the one that I just renamed and moved back into this location. And just to show, going back to samples, I no longer have the A1 old page or the A1 old page archive here. So it did make a clean move for me. SharePoint will throw you an error once in a while saying that the that move task couldn't be completed and that you may have to go back and clean up some files. If that's the case, I've found 9 times out of 10 that the move actually occurred, but where SharePoint failed was going back and taking that file out of the place where you moved it from. And so if you can go to your new location and find the file that you moved, and it's all in good shape, that's fantastic. Just go back and check the old location and see if it still exists there. What happened was SharePoint treated it more like a copy than a move, and all you have to do is select the file and delete it, and you're done. It's just SharePoint has a couple of buggy areas, and that's one of them. Like I say, it doesn't pop up very often, but when it does, it's real easy to get past. And so we're back in the Pages root. We have our old page and our old page archive. Now the archive is the one I'm going to hang on to. That's the one for future reference. So now I've got that information there. It's safe. It's not going to be messed with. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the old page for editing. We've got all of our preparation done now, and we're going to go in to edit this old page. Now the way that we're going to make this a redirect page is to simply change the layout. And so we're going to open the page for editing, and we'll go to the Page tab. And you notice Page Layout is one of the buttons in the tab. That's a drop menu. And the redirect, these are all layouts that you could change this page to. Changing a layout could mean losing information, and in this case it does. That's why we made an archive copy. But you can, after you get a page established, you can go and play with a couple of different layouts and see what you like. And just because it comes up empty when you click one, don't panic. Just go back to the original one, and your information will still be there. Until you save it and check it in, your information will persist. And so we have, since the redirect one is a little low on the list here, we have to be kind of careful about the way we scroll down. Because if you just try to mouse wheel scroll it, you could lose the whole list, and that gets frustrating. I chased that for a few minutes the other day and finally figured out just to pull this down. It's a lot easier. And we're going to choose the redirect layout to change this to. And so when we click that, SharePoint goes through some churning, and voila, we have the redirect layout. Now it knows that this page is the one being redirected because we're still on this page and it's not going to change. Now what we want to do is enter our new URL here. And that 01 new page redirected is my redirect location where this page will send an end user when they come and try to hit it. And if you need a description, you can type it in here. I have not figured out a reason for a roll-up image yet because this redirect is instant. It doesn't show the user anything. And so I haven't figured out quite why we would need a roll-up image. That may go to a different installation of SharePoint, like for the old intranet type things, and they may be able to establish a delay. One of those messages that says, this is being redirected, you'll be on your new page in 5 seconds or 15 seconds or something like that. But for this one, we don't have that, so if you really want a picture there, I suppose you could put it in. And then the title, to keep track of the title when you go in and you want to edit this in the edit page settings, the title will still be there. Same page, or the same title as the page always was, so that for your own housekeeping needs you can keep track. Now once that's there, you can save it. And this page gives you now a click here to test. It shows you that you are indeed pointing to the right place. Training new page. And now we check it in, and we can publish that. And I'm going to lift this out. I think I'll lift this out since that's the whole thing. I'll lift out that part of the URL that is production. We'll go into a different browser just so that there's no card tricks or anything here. Okay, now in a new browser here, if I put in that URL and take off the authoring part, now I'm in my live staging site, and there's the automatic redirect to the new page. And so it's fairly easy to test. You just take it, once you've published your redirect and you know that your new page is published, you can test this by simply putting the old URL into a browser. If you have the option of using a different browser than what you're editing in, that's the best, because then you know you're not logged into anything through that browser, and it won't play any card tricks on you, and somebody else outside the agency or outside your office is going to have the same results that you see if you do your testing in a different browser. And so that's what I try to do. Now, I mentioned there was a second way to do this. You can, the redirect layout is available to you as a new document. I can't envision a scenario where you would start out with a redirect page, because the whole point is taking what used to be and steering the user to what is now. But if you run across the need, the redirect layout is available as a brand new document, and it establishes itself the same as all the other ones. You title it, put a description in if you need, change your URL to a shorter one if you want to, and then make sure that it did pick up the redirect layout, and click Create. Then it comes up in your SharePoint site the same as any other page. Well, for the redirect layout, that's what we've got today. There is a updated document in GovSpace. It's pretty detailed. And then this video will be on GovSpace as well in the eGov training space. And so make sure and avail yourself of this and all the other resources that are in that eGov training space for documentation and videos. I want to thank you for spending time with me today, and I hope this was helpful and informative.